Welcome to the Cast and Camo podcast, where we talk about hunting, fishing, and all things outdoors. Grab your fishing rod, put on your favorite camo, or just sit back and enjoy this week's topic. Cast and Camo begins now.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Todd. How are you tonight?
I'm probably better than you.
Are you? Well, that's good.
Are you, do you have like a big ball and chain attached to you so you don't go flying through the air?
Well, no, I got the scarecrow out here on the one side of the yard.
What does that do? Does that keep the tornadoes away?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Wicked Witch to show up. You know, Dorothy was just here. She just left.
Yeah?
Yeah, she air traveled to Minnesota.
No. Was she going to see Soggy?
So she's coming to your house.
No.
Yeah, she's on her way.
Nope. Bobcat, thank you for that resub, by the way. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. We got a big show tonight. Excited for it. So we're not gonna dance around too much, but we do have our normal housekeeping to get through. So let's get through that. So let's talk. First of all, we're on YouTube. If everybody didn't know that, that's watching live on Twitch. We're on YouTube under Cast and Camo TV. Check out all of our previous episodes on YouTube, as well as our website. You can see all of our previous episodes on our website, www.castandcamotv.com. As well as on the website, you can get to all of the links from anybody that we've had on the show, and we'll get all of Hank's links up there tonight as well. But if you're curious on how to get to some of the people that we've had on the show, check out the website. You can also check out the new merch on the website as well. More merch to come, I'm sure, soon. Give us a subscribe, like, and comment. That's what they all do right down there. Do this down there on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts after this, and you think it sounds like fun to come in and engage with us in chat, we are live on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Central on Twitch under Cast and Camo. Dear Butch, welcome in, everybody. Thank you for that raid, Dear Butch. We appreciate you. Dear Butch is a legend every Sunday. He is our bridge, right? But welcome in, and anybody that's new coming in from Dear Butch's stream, welcome to Cast and Camo. All right, so let's talk our sponsors and partners. We've got Texas Select Seasonings in chat. If you're in the Twitch chat, !BBQ gets you the link to Texas Select Seasonings, and Cast and Camo in all caps gets you 15% off your order for Texas Select Seasonings. I was going through my bag from when I was in Canada, and I brought some of my Texas Select seasoning up there to use on the meat that we were cooking. It was fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing better.
I know. It's so good. I need to talk to him because on his website, the one that I've really been enjoying the most is Rustic Rub. And I think he changed the name of it because it's different. I think it's the same thing, but it's a different name on his website. But I want to know that before I try to get some more, because it's really freaking good. And one of the things I'm excited to talk to Hank about tonight is fish, because I need to learn about cooking fish differently. I cook fish phenomenal. I'm phenomenal, but it's one way. I'm a one-way pony, one-trick pony. It's batter and fry it. And then I would like to expand my horizons. What you can do is you can catch fish on your brand new Sea Arc boat. If you're interested, if you're in the market for a boat, look at Sea Arc boats, ! Sea Arc in our chat will get you to the link to Sea Arc. Check out all of their boats. What's up, Grumpy? It's springtime, kind of. I mean, we're covered in snow right now, thanks to this weekend. But it is spring, believe it or not. Eric can attest for that with the tornadoes that are swinging through his area tonight. But it's the perfect time to start throwing down minerals in your field, getting your food plots ready for this fall. It's never too early. It's never too late. ! Deer 30 in our chat will get you the link to Deer 30's website, Cast and Camo 24 to get 24% off your order with Deer 30. Get all of your food plot and deer mineral needs today. ! Vexen, VEXAN! ! Vexen brings you to the Vexen website. I know Gamer got his new rod. I still have his shirts. I haven't sent him. It's been a little hectic, but we'll get him his shirts. Dear Butch, nice try, and thank you for the 30 biddies. Go to Vexen, 15% off your order. Use Cast and Camo as your discount code. They've got all sorts of good stuff, and we're right around the corner, man. You guys start your big fishing tournament in a couple days. Yep. If you're getting in on that tournament and you need a new catfish rod or a carp rod, go check out their rods, go check out their reels and their tackle. They got good stuff, and you get a discount. Why not? And last but not least, all natural, bee flavored everything. Oh, behave! ! Bees. Cast and Camo in all caps gets you 10% off your order from the Oh Behave website. So that's that. If you want to join the Discord, we do have a Discord. There's a link somewhere down below in the YouTube description. I know that every week we put the description there. If you're in our chat, ! Discord, and that'll bring you into the Discord. So if you're curious on who our guest is going to be for that upcoming week, or if you want to stay abreast on if Chief has gotten picked up and swept away with the tornado,
you'll see me float off the screen.
That's right.
It's like right here now. You can it's like booming.
Is that why you're doing this? You're sweating a little bit, like, whew, I can feel it. I can feel the breeze.
Well, wait till you start hearing it. You'll hear it here in a few seconds.
All right. Okay.
This mic picks everything up, so.
I'm excited. I would love to hear that. I mean, what better to happen? Who needs Reed Timmer? Don't go to Reed Timmer's stream. Come to Cast and Camo and watch live as somebody gets swept away in the tornado. Why not?
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah. Last week we talked to Ted Race from Crooked Creek Charters, and I have not been around, so I know while I was interested in considering trying to book something with him, I would still love to get up there and fish with him at some point, whether it's the summer or the fall or at some point, because why not? I mean, we talk to a lot of charter captains. We talk to a lot of guys like that. Not only is Ted a fantastic guy, but that dude's fished that lake for 40 plus years, 50 plus years. He knows that Lake Erie like the back of his hand. And when your charter captain feels you had a bad day, if you fall one short of your limit, even if you have 5 people on that boat, that's when you know you're with the right person. But I think that would be fun. Yeah,
Ted's good people. He back when me and him worked together, we used to go up there and fish way before he was a captain, charter captain.
Oh, nice.
We used to do a lot of walleye fishing up there in the summer, and I
would love to see Ted come down by you and get in on some of those big carp.
Yeah, he's coming down. He said he's coming. So
that'd be awesome. Yeah. I want to see Ted get slapped in the face because he slapped you up, right? So it's only fair that you find some carp to slap his ass up.
That wasn't a slap. He should have broke my leg. That actually, I'm telling you, I limped for a week and a half.
Well, he's a strong dude.
He took that nightstick and hit me so hard in the leg.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it is still funny to me. That whole story it's funny to me.
Well, the bad part is we're both rolling around on the ground with 2 people. Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to cuff the one guy, and Ted thinks he's got this guy, and the guy gets hold. I think the guy had hold of his gun belt where his gun was, and Ted hammered him with that nightstick. But the problem of it was my leg when he hammered him with the nightstick.
Well, he thought he got a good shot in, at least.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
It was pretty bad.
All right. Well, that was last week. This week, I've been waiting for this since I met him, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how and when I met Hank. But I've been excited to have this night happen for a while. So let's bring Hank on. All right, and Hank's camera's not working, so we're gonna have to deal with just a handsome picture of Hank giving us the stank eye with his camo apron. I'm assuming that's a camo. Hank, is that a camo apron that you're wearing in that picture?
It is indeed handmade.
Yes. There's only one kind of apron that I will wear, and it would be camo. That's it. Camo's my favorite color by far.
I'm real particular about aprons. They've got to go below the knees, and most chef aprons don't. So I'm real partial to that one.
So on top of, now I'm completely already sidetracking, on top of all of the amazing things that you do and are good at, do you also sew?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No, my ex made this for me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you still wear it. Awesome. All right. For those of you that are here that don't know who Hank Shaw is, you're about to get learned. All right. So Hank, when I met Hank, I had no idea who Hank was. I'm just being very honest. And I was with everybody. Eric, you remember Jamie, the chick of the woods that we had on? Fantastic guest. I helped her out in December for her big mushroom or her foraging fair. And I met Hank that night. And I had no idea who Hank was. I didn't know he was a big deal. I had no clue. I just was a dude sitting at the bar having appetizers with me, talking deer hunting. That's all I knew. I didn't realize that I was in the presence of greatness.
You
but
actually weren't.
I don't know about that. But as the night went on, then I kind of started picking up on things, and he's like, "Yeah, I wrote some recipe books. I wrote some books." I'm like, "Oh." I'm kind of in my head. I'm going, "This guy's full of shit." I don't know who he thinks he is. So I open up my phone. I pull up Amazon. They start looking for his books, and no shit, there they are. And I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah." So I ordered 2 books that night. And they happened to be the 2 books that we gave away, whatever that was, a month or so ago. And since then, Hank and I have stayed in contact, and hopefully a budding friendship has begun. We went to a meat raffle, which was fun. I love meat raffles. Eric, do you guys have meat raffles in Kentucky?
No.
You don't? Did you have them in PA?
No.
Do you know what a meat raffle is?
No.
Okay. So many people, it just blows my mind. Growing in Minnesota, I thought meat raffles were just staples at any bar on Wednesday nights or Thursday nights or Friday nights or Saturday. I had no idea, but
They're very specific to the upper Midwest.
I guess. So you go to like a bar, I think they mostly happen at a bar, and
Almost always.
somebody somehow is donating a bunch of meat, whether it's chicken. I've had lobster tails, jumbo shrimp, crabs, steaks, T-bones, New York strips, pork tender, like any of the meats that you can think of, right? And then they walk around and you buy a little ticket with a number on it for $1 or sometimes $2. And then once the tickets are gone, they go and they spin this big giant wheel, like Wheel of Fortune, whatever number it lands on. If you're holding that number, you win meat. And you get to go up and pick some meat out of the whatever they have. Sometimes it's, those little kiddie pools. It'll just be full of meat. And
Right.
you can go pick up. Yeah. So I happened to be the very first winner when I was with Hank and Jamie, and I was the first winner. I got to pick some great T-bones, and they were delicious. I ate them the next day.
Do you know what our meat thing was?
No.
We'd go to a turkey shoot at the Sportsman's Club.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you shoot targets, and the guy that gets closest BB in the center of the target wins a turkey.
All right.
So you have different rounds. Maybe you have 20 guys shoot, and the winner of them 20 guys gets a turkey. And
Why not?
that's our meet and greet.
Well, when I lived in Northern California, it was a Dungeness crab feed.
Oh,
So all these are like they're all to raise money for kids trips or prom or whatever. But it would be, hey, this local town in NorCal has this Dungeness crab feed. $30 and all the crab you can eat.
Right.
And it's dangerous because I can eat a lot of crab.
Right. Yeah.
who can't? Crab is delicious. I don't know that I've had Dungeness crab, but I would.
It's good. So what kind of crab have you had?
Snow crab, king
Mhm.
crab, king crab.
King and snow are the easiest to get into.
Okay.
Dungeness crab is the next easiest, and the blue crabs of the East Coast are the hardest to get into. But they also have the
Yeah, but
sweetest meat.
blue crab is the best. Oh my God.
Yeah, they have the sweetest meat.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's wait, is blue crab and Dungeness crab different?
Very much so.
Yes.
Okay. And blue crab is what redfish feast on the East Coast, right?
In theory, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So your blue
they're there.
crab are down the East Coast to a certain part in Florida. They're all the way down in Florida, but they get lower on the amounts the further south you go in Florida.
Until you get to the Gulf. Then they come back again. So there's lots of them in Louisiana.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, on the other side. I was just talking on the East Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a couple people in here from North Carolina in our chat room.
And Hank is a Jersey boy, so Hank is an East Coaster. Thanks, Bear. Appreciate that.
I've lived in Virginia too, so I know
that's
my way
right.
around crabs.
Yeah. There was a joke there that I'll leave alone. But going back to the story of how I met Hank and didn't realize who Hank was, and I kind of liked that because I got to know Hank without knowing that he is a kind of an actual celebrity. I didn't even know. But Hank has been, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of these facts, Hank, I'm not used to talking to somebody with a Wikipedia page and having every account on social media verified. But you were nominated twice for a James Beard Award, and then you won it once. So you were nominated in 2009, 2011? 2010?
2008 and 2009, and then I won it 2013.
Okay. So James Beard Award winner, which is a big deal. That's a big deal. But you won that award was it for the journalism, for the website?
Yeah, it was for Hunter, Angler, Gardener, Cook.
Okay. Which is awesome. Other accolades for Hank: best blog from the International Association from the Culinary Professionals in 2010, 2011. You're featured in best food writing in 2012, 2013. He's been on shows that I've watched multiple times. Bizarre Foods, Andrew Zimmern. Somebody's Got to Do It with Mike Rowe. I want to know a little bit about that because I've not seen that episode. I would like to know a little bit about that. You were on Meat Eater with Steve Ranella. Mostly everybody knows Meat Eater. Fresh Tracks with Randy Newberg, and then the Joe Rogan Experience. So we talked a little bit about that when we were at the meat raffle. That had to be quite the fun time.
It was a while ago, so it was sort of proto Joe, but it was
okay.
I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
I think, Eric, you and I would make pretty good guests on the Joe Rogan Experience. What do you think? You agree?
I don't know.
We could talk about all sorts of things.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure we could. So what did you do on Somebody's Gotta Do It? What was the episode with you on it?
So the point of having me on that show was, why would somebody do what I do, which is to say fish and forage and do all that kind of thing. And Mike Rowe, his questioning is really spot on. He asked really good, hard questions in a very considerate way. So it was actually a joy to be with him. Like, we filmed for damn near 16 hours. So he came in June in California, and we did everything. Like, we went fishing, we went crabbing, I took him mushroom hunting, we went foraging for berries and wild plants, and he was never not interested in what I did. And his interests made it more exciting for me to talk about it. And it's probably the best piece of TV I've ever done.
Oh wow. He seems like a great dude.
He is. I have absolutely okay. I have one bad thing to say about Mike Rowe.
Oh,
and it's not really bad.
Oh, okay.
So it's right in the morning, right? So we've known each other for about 5 minutes, and so I'm using a low profile bait caster to go trying to cast for jack smelt. And I look him dead in the eye and I'm like, "Hey man, do you know how to use a low profile bait caster? It is perfectly okay if you don't. I've got a spinning reel, but if you know how to use one, they're a little bit better." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." First cast, I'm like, "Oh, absolute bird's nest." So like, all right, here's my spinning reel. And then it's I'm kneeling down working on this bird's nest, and I look up, and out of the corner of my left eye, I see him using the spinning reel with the reel on the top. And I'm like, all right, so he's not an experienced angler, and that's
Oh,
fine. But
yeah.
like that's literally the only bad thing I could say about Mike Rowe, and that's not very bad.
Oh, that's not bad at all. I was hoping for something a little bit more juicy. I, and for a while I contemplated on, God, do I ask him questions about some of these other people that he's with? But I'm not going to go down that road. But anyway, what I'm curious, and we're going to get
You can ask me
into.
anything you want.
Well, this is true. If I was you, I wouldn't answer any of the questions I was going to ask. I mean, what's funny is I got a cookbook for Christmas, and it happened to be the Meat Eater cookbook. And
Which one? He's got several.
I don't even know. It's over there somewhere, and it was kind of fun. I felt really bad because I opened the gift and I was like, "Oh, it's not the cookbooks I want. I got Hank's cookbooks now. I don't need these cookbooks." So I felt a little
His
bad.
aren't bad. I mean, I do think mine are just objectively better, but the only reason I say that is because he and I get compared a lot, and
Yeah,
I will tell you that the difference between Steve and I is Steve is a hunter who cooks, and I am a cook who hunts,
right.
and there's a difference, and so follow Steve for all the hunting advice. I mean, I can kill shit, but like I'm not as good a hunter as he is, but I'm a much better cook than he is. So
Yeah,
like we kind of complement each other.
yeah. Well, that's all that really matters. Now you started as well, and from what I've read, it was it felt weird to read up on you a little bit, uh, since I had met you a couple times before, so it was a little bit of a weird experience. But you kind of were more of an angler than a hunter starting out, growing up, and is that accurate? Was that accurate statement?
Very, very much so. So I grew up gathering plants and mushrooms and fishing and digging clams and that sort of thing. And that was basically my interaction with the wild world up until I was 30.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I moved to Minnesota for the first time that I started hunting. And so that's been now 25 years.
Mhm.
And so it seems like a lifetime, but it's not because, I'm as old as I look, I guess.
All
And,
right.
um, and so, yeah, so so hunting came as kind of the third leg of the stool, if you think about it, because you've got plants and mushrooms as one, you've got fish and seafood as another, and then you've got, all the game animals as the third kind of major source of what we pursue in the outdoors.
Mhm. Um, eh, Eric, how much? So Eric and Hank really haven't met much other than the little bit before the show. Hank, just to give
And
you,
he's still here, he hasn't blown away,
I know
so
he hasn't blown away
No.
yet.
Oh yeah, no.
Eric is a master at catfish. Um, One thing I don't know that
I saw that
look.
video, I'm like, makes me wanna go down there, I love fishing for
I
that.
know, right? One of the things we haven't talked about a ton, Eric, is cooking catfish. How often do you or have you actually cooked catfish, or was it just a mostly catch and release?
99% of the time is catch and release. If I'm going to keep a catfish, it's going to be about 18 inches, maybe 17, 18 inches, and
Okay.
then fillet it and make beer batter and do the catfish. But 99.9% of the time, they're released straight back in the water.
Gotcha.
I'm the only one except Ryan. Ryan eats fish too, but Pam will. I'm
No?
not even allowed to cook fish in the house.
Is that
Okay.
right?
So I have to do it outside if I'm going to do it. And, a turkey fryer and
yeah,
put the oil. Yeah, I got to do it all outside.
it's
So
not nearly as much fun.
yeah,
But
yeah, it makes it difficult when you love fish.
so one of the things, Hank, that I'm curious to know is kind of how you went from the cooking to journalism, and because the two really have complemented each other for your career. But in my head, I didn't understand is how that transition happened, or what inspired that transition. But it was a phenomenal one. What exactly happened? You were cooking, you were a sous chef, and then all of a sudden you started becoming a reporter for newspapers.
Yeah, this is when I was young. So when I went to graduate school at the University of Wisconsin, go Badgers. Um, and so at the time I was starting out as a newspaper reporter, but I was also working as a sous chef and a line cook. And they're actually weirdly similar positions. They have weird hours. They're usually misfits who do the job. It's we often like our liquor a little too much. Uh, but we view that profession not really as a way to make money, more as a thing that we were called to do. So cooking professionally at its best is a calling, and so is journalism. And you don't do either job for money because it's you're never going to be rich doing either of those things.
Right.
So I found it very easy to slide between one world and the other. The physical nature of being in a restaurant in line cooks and sous chefs and all that stuff, physically it's very difficult. And when I came back to it in 2008, um, I was still able to, and I still am. Like I just did a huge dinner in Wisconsin about a month ago for we did banquet service for 100, and I could still do it, but it's a little bit like how old guys fight. Like we can fight and we might win, but we're gonna be sore and we can't fight every night.
Are you calling Eric old?
I mean, I'm
I've
calling
seen.
all three of us old.
Wow. Well, you have a point.
I mean, there's gray in every one of our beards.
I know. I know.
just in Todd's, but he colors his with,
Yeah.
I caught him using shoe polish last week. It was
That
like,
was not.
and I'm like,
First of all, it was a
Todd,
shoe
why
polish.
are you using black shoe polish? He had this little tin can, and he was, and
What's this
I'm
right
like,
here?
So
you
you could
got
look
to
like
quit.
Leonidas from the 300.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
just
the
for
black
men.
magic marker
Yeah.
that he was using too. That thing worked.
Yeah, right. Well, the lights, there's a lot of lights, and every once in a while the light hits that white on the mustache a little too strong in one spot, so you got to dull it a little bit. Got to,
Oh, it's all right. Listen. I did that for a while, Todd.
Did you?
What? Yeah. What you got to do is just stop, because it ain't gonna
I
help.
did.
The
I
more
don't.
you use it, the more gray it gets. I'm just gonna tell you.
Well, it's too far gone already.
Yeah.
I'm just accepting it. But once you made that transition and kind of brought in that journalism, has that always been a strong passion of yours, or were you always good at it, or did you start to kind of realize like, hey, I can put these two things together and make a run for something?
I mean, I think if you were to boil down what I am 50% cook and 50% writer. And we're all the sum of our decisions. So everything that you have chosen to do or to not do up until this point in your life, that's who you are. And I have been lucky enough, and I have been kind of with it enough mentally over the last 20 years to 30 years, maybe, to make decisions to that end. So thinking about, okay, so where do I want to go from here? And how do I get there?
Mhm.
And it's been, I mean, I can't complain. It's been a pretty good life so far. And um, yeah, so like the reason why I'm good at what I do is both of those things. A, I know how to cook, and
Yep.
B, I know how to write about cooking, and I know how to write a recipe so that what I write is what you read. Like, for example, is there anybody who is listening to my voice right now who has not written a text where what you wrote is not what the person who you wrote it to read?
Right.
especially girlfriends. Like, I mean,
None of my
that's not what I meant.
girlfriends.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, none of my girlfriends ever read any of my notes. They always threw them back at me in class.
Oh, I'll send you a love letter, Eric.
You already did. Quit it.
Well, I'll send you another one, and then you can throw it away, and then you can be, kind of have that same feeling. Throw it away. Don't read it.
So let me ask him the question, Hank.
Yeah.
You say you wrote some books on muskie fishing?
No, I didn't. I've only caught 2 muskies in my whole life.
Oh, I thought you said Todd at the beginning he wrote some muskie books. That's why I wanted to ask him that. That's all.
If I
I've
did,
got
I
plenty of
misspoke.
pike, but only a couple of muskies.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of John Whipfley. John Whipfley has apparently killed all kinds of muskies and is currently unable to cross the border into Wisconsin because
Yeah, no, don't be killing muskies. Yeah, we don't want to kill muskies.
I've killed one, and I can tell you in no uncertain terms, it's basically a pike.
Yeah.
So it's fine. If people are gonna get their undies in a bunch over killing a muskie, just catch a pike and you'll be fine.
And for me, this is one of the things I eventually wanted to talk about. I love pike. I think pike are way better tasting than even walleye. And I know, being from Minnesota, I get hammered by people when I say that, but I find walleye to be, I mean, it's good fish. It tastes okay. It's good depending on how you cook it, but I think pike have actual flavor, more flavor to me than a walleye does. But I could be crazy. I'm not a foodie. I just know when I put it in my mouth hole and I taste flavor from a pike, that's what I taste.
I've eaten a lot of both, and you're right in that walleyes are an unbelievably useful blank slate. So they're mild. The reason why everyone loves walleye is because they're mild. They take what you give them. They have a very tight flake. They are lean, not fishy, and firm.
Right.
So they have a lot going for them. So pike have every one of those things except they have an extra set of Y bones. So once you figure out how to get around the Y bones, to me, they're very, very similar. And the only difference is, and you've touched on this, is that a pike is often going to carry a little bit of fat with it. And so the nature of any given anything, fish, fowl, red meats, white meats, you name it, the essence of any kind of creature's flavor is in its fat. So you can have like good catfish and bad catfish. Catfish are
Sure.
fatty. And same deal with anything else. And so pike, because they carry a little bit of fat, where walleyes tend to not carry a lot of fat, they can have a bit more of an actual flavor.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that was the reason, but I just knew, to me, just always kind of tasted like they had a little bit more flavor, weren't so bland.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love walleyes, like
Yeah, well,
because you can do anything.
I've tried baking walleye, and that I need to order your fish recipe book, because that's where I need the most help.
I mean, I got one at the house. Just buy me a few beers. I'll just give it.
Okay. I can do that again. We'll do another meat raffle. How about that?
I support that.
But to give you a plug, and I've been dropping your links in our chat too for everybody as well. Hook, Line, and Supper is the book that I was referring to, and you can order them on any of your websites. I would assume you can get to your books. Amazon, that's where I found them. I got them on Amazon. Everybody check out the books. But I can make meat. And Eric, again, you and I haven't talked about making fish much, probably because neither one of us really make fish. I love fish. I'm not allowed to make fish either. So I want to learn more than just throw it in some batter and deep fry it, even though I do love that, especially with a little Cajun. But I'm excited for, and Hank doesn't know me that well yet. Eric knows me a little bit as far as my food tastes, and my friends here, I'm like a third grader when it comes to my food choices. If it's not chicken strips and French fries, I'm probably rolling my eyes at it. Even though I don't eat chicken strips and French fries anymore. But I'm excited to open my palate to new and different things. And one of the things that really caught my attention when we were talking that first night we met, Hank, was you were talking about liver and onions. And I've never even considered, and I knew people take the deer liver and the deer heart and even the deer tongue. I've never considered it. Eric, do you take the heart or the liver or any of that from your deer?
I used to. Now, I said this year I was going to take the liver, but I didn't. I ended up not getting one this year. So, yeah, that was, I could have shot a couple, but I didn't. And I wanted to take the liver this year. I used to take the heart and the liver, and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
As long as it's cooked right, it's delicious. And now there's a lot of people that does not like liver at all. My wife's one of them. She will not even go near me when I'm cooking liver. But I love liver and onions.
Well, that's good, because what Hank and I were talking about is I don't even know how many, I forget how many iterations it took you, Hank, to what I would call perfect the liver and onions, where you said it doesn't even taste like liver anymore. And it took you a while, right? Can you talk a little bit about that, at just that specific thing?
Yeah, because I'm a little bit like your wife, Eric. I am intrinsically not a fan of liver.
Right.
So I need to start any conversations about liver by saying that,
Right.
because there are people who love it. And I know guys will just like hack off a piece of bull elk liver and be like, "Yeah!" And I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
It smells worse than ass. Like, it's
Oh,
terrible.
oh,
But so for me, if you ever see any of my liver recipes, it's a recipe that a not liver lover likes to eat. So, with a case of deer liver and onions, the number 1, period, and there is no substitute, it has to be the liver from a young deer, period.
oh, okay.
If I'm going to eat it. Now, other people can disagree, but that means they like liver more than I do. So, if you think about, generally speaking, in the supermarket world, the beef liver that you typically buy is calf's liver. So it's the equivalent of like a yearling deer or a young doe.
Mhm.
So number one is if you're gonna if you're liver curious, if you're liver curious, shoot a doe or shoot a yearling or shoot a small buck. Um, the livers off those animals are going to be infinitely milder than one off of. I'll put it this way: I shot a yearling buck 2 years ago, and then this year I shot. I mean, I damn near knocked the spots off this window, and then I shot a really nice buck. So the buck scored about 150 or so.
Nice.
So the buck liver was purple, pretty much, and the doe liver was light pink. And that color is an indicator. You see this with
Okay.
ducks too. So ducks have so birds have a very special thing. I'm gonna get into the weeds a little bit, so bear with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Birds have the ability. It's a thing called steatosis, and mammals can do it too, but it's very rare in wild game. It's fatty liver disease in you and me, which is bad for us, but it's
Right.
great for birds because what birds do is they will gorge themselves on fatty things and they will store a ton of fat in their liver so they can fly, 1,000 miles tomorrow, which is
Right.
bonkers if you think
Right.
about it. But when you get one with a tan liver, so basically, if the liver looks like a white person's skin, um, that liver is going to be delicious. It's going to be rich and fatty and almost like foie gras, and you've been given a gift.
Wow.
The darker and more purple a liver is, the more irony and the more stinky and the more livery it's going to be. Now, that's not, you can't, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to throw it out. Although I will tell you this, I left the liver of that big old buck to the coyotes. Um, but the little one, you soak it in milk overnight. And then what I do is because again, remember, I'm not really a super lover of liver. Is
Hmm.
first night's in milk, second night's in a brine, a saltwater brine. And so after those two things, If you then cut it into cutlets and bread it bread it just with salt and flour, and then you cook it in. I usually cook it in peanut oil so that it's still pink inside. It doesn't, you don't want it rare, but you want
Right.
it pink inside. And then you serve that with, and here's the other key of liver and onions: caramelized onions. Take your time. 3, 4, 5 onions sliced. Cook them slow, slow, slow until they are actually caramel brown. That plus that liver, plus a little bit of maybe balsamic vinegar or some other vinegar that you like, plus good freshly ground black pepper. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody listening to this would be like, yeah, that's freaking good.
Can you do it without the onions? Or I've never understood the onions portion or half of that
Oh,
combination.
because it's a different texture and it provides sweetness.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. Yeah.
I mean, I like the flavor of the onions, but I don't like the crunch. I don't like that texture
They
of
shouldn't be.
eating.
Well, you won't have the crunch if you caramelize it.
Exactly.
What are you doing, Todd? Are you throwing them in for 2 seconds and taking them out and going?
No.
Crunch? You might as well just eat a raw onion.
No, ew. No, I'd rather eat a pickle,
Well,
honestly.
if your onions are crunchy,
Yeah. They're not done?
they're not done.
Okay.
Not
I love the guy
caramelizing them.
I love the guy in the chat who's like, pickles and chicken liver is so good. That person's not wrong.
Well, the problem of it is the guy in the chat room does not know what he's talking about on the first word. The guy is a little bit, he's weird because he's from Florida and he likes pickles.
Yeah. I don't trust anybody from Florida that then likes pickles. Those are two things we were very careful on.
So, Hank, just to let you know a little bit, my channel is basically I hate pickles, and everyone knows it. So they really torment the living crap out of me about pickles. So
I mean, that's fair. Pickles are good.
No, they're not. Hank, I liked you at the beginning of the show. I'm starting not to like you now. No, seriously, I can't even get a pickle.
Are you like in
near
therapy for pickles or something? Or?
Yes, I am. I am in mental therapy for pickles. Yeah, and my wife loves them. And I went out in the kitchen the other night and I could smell pickles like really strong. And I'm like, ooh. And I looked over and she has this green bag. It's pickles in a bag. 2 of them was in there and she had the bag open. And I'm like sealing it shut. I'm like, no pickles, Pam. Put the pickles away.
Have you ever had pickle brine fried chicken?
No.
Oh, it's amazing.
No,
It's the best fried chicken you'll ever have.
Listen, it's like drinking a glass of vinegar.
Yes, it is, and it's amazing.
Eric and I are on the same page when it comes to pickles. Neither one of us are fans of pickles, and we don't understand. And maybe you, as the amazing foodie that you are, Hank, explain the craze that is going on in this world, or at least in this country, with pickles and dill. Everything is dill. Everything is pickle flavored. I don't get it. Whether it's chips, nuts, fun, you name it, there is a dill flavored or pickle flavored, whatever it is. I don't understand the craze. I don't get it.
I mean,
will it ever end?
A whole bunch of that, like pickle flavored nuts, seems just disgusting, and seems but I mean, I don't know. I think that Americans like big flavors, and pickles are acidic, and they have a lot of punch and flavor. Like, especially if there's chili involved. If it's like vinegar and chili and pickles, I mean, people must love their colitis. It'll tear you up inside, but I mean, it tastes good going down.
All right, so let me just move to a similar subject. Where I live here, when I was in Pennsylvania, I lived there all my life, and I moved here. So our barbecue was like a tomato-based barbecue up there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I moved here. Everything is vinegar. You get a burger, it's soaked in vinegar. You get a barbecue pulled pork sandwich, and it tastes like you're drinking a glass of vinegar. Everything when they have all their big chicken fries here that they sell a half chicken, all the like the Legion and the Sportsman's Club, they do their chickens and they baste them in vinegar the entire time they're doing them. I just don't understand. When I was raised, barbecue was a tomato base.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so as you probably know and are just baiting everyone, there's tons of different kinds of barbecue. There's tomato based, there's vinegar based, there's mustard based, there's dry rubs, there's just smoke if you're in Texas, which is probably my preferred method. But vinegar based barbecues, it's a thing. And I mean, the reason why you have it and why I actually prefer it on pulled pork is because pulled pork done right is so fatty that you need that acid to cut through it. Now you can get there with tomato, absolutely, but a tomato-based barbecue sauce for me is
So
very
Hank,
thick.
you're losing all my respect. You like pickles? You're going for the vinegar. Is this a show that's pickling Eric tonight, or what?
I had no idea you were so sensitive. I'm very sorry.
Oh, I am. I'm very sensitive. You just tickled my funny bone there. Gosh.
You have a strong opinion about South Carolina mustard based?
South Carolina, I don't mind the mustard base.
Yeah, I like
that
it
ain't
too.
bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
But what my problem is here, when we moved here to this house 4 years ago, we have a barbecue place like 4 miles down the road. And I went down and Pam says, well, just get me a burger. Well, I love pulled pork sandwiches. So I get 2 pulled pork sandwiches, get her 2 burgers, come home, take them in. She's working. It's lunchtime. I give her the 2 burgers, and I come out here and I open my first pulled pork sandwich up, and the bun was like dripping off the foil. All right. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I went to smell it, and it was vinegar. Yep. And I took a little piece of bite. There was no bun left, by the way, Hank. I reached in, pulled a little bit of the barbecue, took a taste of it, and I swear that thing was solid vinegar. And I just threw both sandwiches in the garbage and met her in the hallway. She was bringing both burgers back, and she's like, did they soak these in vinegar?
You are so lucky you are not in the parts of Virginia that I used to live in. You didn't even get a bun. You just got maybe 2 layers of Wonder Bread. Usually it's 1 piece of Wonder Bread on each side of the pulled pork with a vinegar-based barbecue, and it basically forms into this sort of vaguely doughy, meaty, vinegary mass that's like
it just, I love to barbecue smoke pulled porks out on the grill. I love it. But I don't, the way I do mine, I use a rub. I don't rub it in. I just put the Texas Select seasoning over the entire pork. Mm-hmm. And then I smoke it for 2 to 3 hours, and then I wrap it up good in paper. And then I just, I make sure there's enough on there, and then I'll take like, a barbecue sauce, some type.
If you say Sweet Baby Ray's, I'm leaving this.
No. I make my own barbecue sauce. So I put it over it, I wrap it up, and then I do not touch it for 6 hours and let it sit right on that grill. And when I'm done, I let it sit for 30 minutes, and I reach in, pull that bone right out, and cut off the fat on the one side, and set it down and just like tear it apart with the rakes. Yeah, and it's great. I love it.
Sounds great.
Yeah, meat.
And then I take Baby Ray's. No. Say you deserve that, Hank.
I will I will summon a tornado to sweep you away.
Well, it's already. We just had one like a mile from the house here, so we're doing good.
Oh, perfect. ATM, there she goes.
Yeah.
There she goes. We wanted to talk some foraging since it is mushroom season, or for at least it's starting to come in full force for Eric. How much, Hank? Because I know just from talking to you and talking to Jamie that is, I don't know if I'd call it a passion, but for me, I would call it a passion. It's something that you're super interested in and good at, and it goes along with everything that you do so well. What percentage do you think that you put in towards foraging and getting your own? I know gardening and all that. What percentage of time and effort do you put into getting your own ingredients like that? And how big of a play does mushrooms play into some of those?
It all depends on the year, but I'll get when the getting's good. So last year, I got a hot tip that the driftless area in Wisconsin had really good blueberries. So I found a spot and I went out there and I picked 23 pounds of blueberries.
Oh
And
wow!
and so number one, I know that it's just me at my house, right? I'm single. So like there's
Single,
almost zero chance that I'm gonna eat 23 pounds of blueberries. So
right?
I made a whole lot of friends and gave a bunch of blueberries away. And then I dehydrated a bunch and then I froze a whole bunch more. So it really, but that's a good example because this year could be a terrible year for blueberries. And then, okay, but then I'm set. So mushrooms are kind of similar. And last year was an amazing chanterelle season. So all of us who were picked we everybody I know who was good at it stopped picking chanterelles because there were just so many.
Oh, okay.
And they don't dry well, so you have to really cook them and then vacuum sealing them, throw them in the freezer. You could pickle them too, but, Eric loves that, and but you can't dry them. I mean, you can, I mean, it's edible, but it's just it's why bother? They lose all of what's special about, a chanterelle if you dry it, whereas, like, a porcino or morels are great dried. So, every mushroom's different. So, to answer your
Mm.
question, generally speaking, year in and year out, about a quarter of all of the non-meat things that I eat are pretty much either wild foods or mushrooms.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. Are you one of, like, Eric is chomping at the bit to get out and look for the morels? Are you that same way? I know a lot of people are. Um, what I've found almost like when I talk to Jamie, she doesn't get as excited about morels because she just loves all mushrooms. And for me, since I'm not a huge mushroom person yet, I would, from what I've heard, morels are phenomenal. So I would be, if I were to go out there in the upcoming months, weeks, whenever they start for us, that's what I would be looking for to try. And I know, Eric, that's what you're excited for, right? The morels.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, that and sheephead mushroom are my two best.
Wait, what's a sheephead mushroom? I thought that was a fish.
Sheephead mushroom down where he lives is a false morel, but it's an edible
Oh,
false morel.
No. It looks like a big sheephead. It grows on the base of an oak tree. They're big white leaves on them. They're
Oh,
about a half-inch thick. They
hen of
call
the
them
woods.
different, hen of the woods. They call them
oh,
different in
Yeah,
other
yeah. So that's a
places.
fall mushroom. Okay,
All
yeah.
right,
yeah.
so yeah, they're in the fall. They grow on the base of oak trees. But those are my two favorite mushrooms. Like the hen. So we'll just go to the hen of the woods since a lot of you call it that. I have that with my scrambled eggs, or that's just like I love them. Them
Oh,
and morel
okay.
mushrooms are the two best mushrooms that I eat. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both really good.
And
But
I
I'm
bring
I'm
my
kind of
morel home and soak them in salt water for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. And then I take them out, wash them off, and then I get them kind of set them on paper towels, and then I put them in bags. I cut them in half, put them in bags, saran wrap bags, um, like a lunch bag. And then the next day, I'll cook them for breakfast or have them for supper. But I take them and dip them in flour and egg and fry them in a frying pan. And I love them that way. That's the way I was raised cooking morels, and that's like the best for me. I don't know how you do them, Hank, but that's
I'm curious
basically how.
to
That's
hear
one
Hank's
I
approach.
do a fried morel a little bit. Like I don't soak them in salt water, but I'll float them in water to make sure that any bugs get
Yeah,
out and then
that's
any
why I do
debris.
them in the salt water, because it seems
Ah,
to jerk them bugs right out of there instantly.
I was
Yeah,
gonna ask what the purpose of that was.
it also just cleans them. And so,
Yeah,
I mean, I actually don't mind the saltwater brine because it can actually the salt can get into the mushroom and can kind of season it a little bit too.
yeah,
Um, I'm spoiled because I spent so many years in Northern California where we have 4 different kinds of burn morels. So, I mean, I used to be able to pick morel mushrooms from about April to damn near August.
Oh wow.
And they're different kinds and you get them at different altitudes, and some of them don't even show up until July at like 8,000 feet on north faces and that kind of cool stuff. And they're just those mushrooms are so much better than Midwestern morels that
right.
it's left me a little bit jaded about for the Midwestern morels. Like, I like them. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to
Mm.
go look for morels, 100%. They're fine. I like them. They're good. But God, so they call them grays and greens in the West Coast, and they start about Colorado and they go all the way to the West Coast. And imagine a morel in your mind, and now imagine it twice as thick. So it's almost like like a steak met a morel. That's what these mushrooms are, and it's crazy how good they are.
I'm gonna have to try them this year. I've never had a morel mushroom, but I'm gonna have to try it. I have
All
to.
I have to tell you is cook it thoroughly, because
Yeah,
the people who get sick of morels, they'll
yeah,
flash fry them and they won't cook them long enough. You actually have to cook them.
Can you
yeah.
overcook them?
You can't overcook them, but
No,
Okay.
you can get them pretty. They'll get a real heavy crust if you're putting them in egg and flour. They get a real heavy crust on them.
Okay.
You
Mhm.
know, almost like a crunch when you bite into it. But the
Mm.
mushroom is cooked well. That's just like he said. Just make sure you cook it well enough. Because I have
That's
had
where I do
people that
well.
got sick on
Okay.
morels.
If you can't overcook it, then I should be I should be golden.
Oh no,
I don't
you
just
can't do it.
leave it cook for a while, right?
My granddad used to cook them to there's like bacon, crispy bacon. That's how
Yeah, that's a fun one.
that's the way he liked them.
Really?
Yeah, he
Sir,
would cook the living crap out of them.
are you slicing them thin?
No, you're
No?
just using the half of them. When you cut the mushroom in half,
Yeah.
we always have done it. Just cut it in half,
Mhm.
and it kind of lays flat after it's been in water and in
Okay.
the salt bath, and then you put it in. You set it in. You take it out and you dip it in the egg and flour. It's pretty much straight flat.
Okay.
You
Mhm.
know.
I'm
So
excited to try it.
Yeah, if I fry morels, that's what I do, but normally I cut them crosswise into rings because
oh, okay.
I think it just looks cooler,
Yeah.
but not if I'm gonna fry them.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. A lot of people bake them too. I've seen them
Mhm.
bake, like make a meatloaf and put them in a meatloaf.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, if
Um,
you get into them, you're gonna have, like, bags and bags of them dried in your pantry, and you're like, "Whoa, what the hell do I do with it now?" You know,
right,
and
right.
Well, people seem to eat mushrooms on or with almost anything. I'm still again not I didn't grow up eating mushrooms, and Jamie fed me the first mushroom that I've ever had last year, and that was a chanterelle. The concept of eating mushrooms on a steak blows my mind.
What?
It does.
He's Hank. He's weird. It's okay.
It blows my mind. You've got a
Like, I
perfectly
think
good piece of meat.
the first mushroom sauce I had on a steak, I think I was 4.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's what you do. Like
Never. I've never had mushrooms on a steak. And if I get a steak and it's got mushrooms on it, I scrape them off. Like, why would I ruin a perfectly good steak with a fungus? I've never understood that. But I don't eat mushrooms.
that's the
I
backward
shouldn't say I
thinking right
don't.
there.
I
All
shouldn't
right.
say I
So,
don't. I never have. I've
can I,
never been.
let me put it to you this way: without the grilled onions and the mushrooms. Now, but I agree with you. A steak, you shouldn't ruin a steak by putting all this Worcester sauce on it, A1. I won't do that unless the steak is horrible.
Well, right.
Now, with the mushrooms and onions, I feel it's like the same thing as having the loin out of a deer.
Yeah, I mean, just it adds to
the mushrooms and onions. It doesn't change it none. The taste of the steak. It's just Todd. Get you. You got to get out of the basement of that house once a year.
Gross. Gross.
I'll work on this for you. All right. Okay. Now, Todd's problem is, pickles the same as mine. Yeah. Now, I don't like jalapeno poppers, the peppers at all that my wife makes. I don't like them. They're yucky. Or that, there's just certain things I don't like. Me and Todd kind of meet on that. But when it comes to the mushrooms and the onions and that, he has left the building. And I got to get him back to the building somehow.
It never was brought to the building. That's the thing. Last year was my first experience with mushrooms. So they've been stranger danger my whole life. That's no joke.
At least your first experience was not with canned mushrooms, which are a sin against God and nature.
God, yes.
I don't think I would have allowed that. I don't think Jamie would have allowed that. And which is why I trusted her. I'm like, if I trust anybody to feed me mushrooms for the first time, it's going to be Jamie. And I took a lot of shit on her socials because she posted the video of me eating that mushroom. And I think in the midst of talking about it, she's like, "This is the first time you're eating a mushroom, right?" I'm like, "First time I ever eat a mushroom." And I think I compared it to calamari. And somebody made a comment like, "This jackass has eaten calamari, but he's never had a mushroom. What kind of backwards bullshit is that?" And I'm like, I don't know.
All she had to do was put, "I've never been out of my basement." That's all you had to put, and they would have understood.
So here's a funny one for you. So there is a class of mushrooms. They're edible amanitas, so they're not for beginners. But they're edible amanita mushrooms because there are amanitas that will kill you dead. So you have to know which ones you're picking. But the stems are hollow. So when you cut the stems, which can be 4 or 5 inches long, when you cut them into rings and you fry them, they look exactly like calamari rings.
Really?
Like exactly.
Okay, so let me switch a little bit on the food here.
Okay.
The loin of a deer.
Yeah. Delicious.
All right. How do you prepare your loin on a deer?
Sort of depends, but my standard operating procedure will be I'll take the full backstrap. Well, sometimes I make chops, but if I'm not making chops, I'll take the full backstrap off the animal, and then I'll clean it up for the most part. I do leave some silver skin on before I vacuum seal and freeze because that can protect the actual meat, and the silver skin also comes off 1,000 times easier from thawed meat versus fresh meat.
Yep.
But what I do is I will keep that backstrap in lengths. So typically somewhere around 10 to 12 inches long. A length of backstrap, I will vacuum seal that because I like to cook a backstrap as a whole piece of meat and then slice it into medallions or thinner slices when I serve it. I don't typically do steaks until we get up to like elk and moose or bison.
Okay. I'm walking through that in my head. Yeah. For me, it's more of a spacing issue. It's easier to stack. If I cut the loin into a bunch of steak size 1 inch, 1.5 inch steaks, then it's easier for me to stack because I don't have a ton of room for them. But
kind of isn't. They're little thin cylinders.
How long do you cook your deer meat for?
I like medium rare. So how long depends on the heat.
Another Jim Bortz, but Jim likes his rare, I think. He throws it on one side and flips it to the other side. 30 seconds on each side is all he does. And I'm
I mean,
like,
I'll eat it rare, but I prefer it medium rare.
Yeah, I like medium rare. That's my with especially with the tenderloin, that backstrap or the inside backstrap. Oh,
Okay, so the tenderloin's a little different. So the tenderloin I do like rare.
okay.
oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
See, I do mine between medium and medium well, like in between them two. I don't want it medium well, but I don't want it medium either.
I mean, it's
Fair.
fine. I won't get mad at it, but I prefer it a little bit less cooked like that.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I do too. I think it gets too dry. But
I mean,
What
I'm not gonna
about the
get
like
mad
that
at a
juice.
I'm not gonna get
What,
mad at a
what about
solid medium.
what about these people that do their deer steaks and their beef and that well? I mean, they're just like there is nothing
Well, they
there.
don't deserve to eat red meat.
Well, I think most of them are scared that they're going to
Or
get
they're
sick from
communists.
them.
I think they're communists.
No. It's all right, chat. Anyone who
Communists
that
eat
likes it,
well done beef.
he's just teasing, chat. 70,000 people in our channel, and he just called 60,000 of them communists. No.
Yeah, they're eating well done steaks. I'm sorry.
Mm.
Own it.
That's right. I agree.
Fly that red flag. It's the only red you're gonna see on meat.
Oh.
I don't bash anybody for cooking their meat however they want to cook their meat. It's if they're cooking it for me though, I don't want to eat it. I don't want to eat it.
All right, let's go to a bird. What about pheasant?
Yeah.
How do you do your pheasant?
I break them down. I typically won't. Sometimes I'll roast a whole pheasant, but typically I break them down. I'm also so it's going to say a few things when I die on my tombstone. One is going to say, "Don't grind the shank." Another one's going to say, "Bleed the fish," and another one's going to say, "Pluck the bird." So I'm an evangelist for plucking all birds. You know, not
Right.
necessarily all, but like I'm not going to pluck a merganser, for example.
Mhm.
But for pheasants, because we don't kill that many. You know, if you're hunting wild birds and you're really good at it, maybe you kill 30 in a year, maybe 40. But most of us kill fewer than that. And if you haven't blown that bird up, which happens, if you haven't blown that bird up, it's worth it to spend a little time and wait a few days and pluck that bird. And so when you have the skin on, this remember when we talked about the pike,
Yeah.
where the pike carries a little fat so it has more flavor? If you keep the skin on any bird, it's going to have so much more flavor, and it's gonna taste so much more of itself. And so a skinned pheasant is a boring chicken, and that's fine. I mean, at least you're eating it. But if we're gonna, I mean, what are we doing here, right? You know, it's you're walking 6 miles to kill some some ditch chickens. You know, you might as well treat it like the special thing it is, right? It's not something you buy at Costco.
Right.
And so what I will typically do is I will separate the legs and the thighs because the legs often have really, really significant tendons that will not break down. So I will collect as a pheasant season goes on a whole bunch of drumsticks and put them in the freezer, and then when I'm ready, I'll crock pot them or something like that, so that the meat comes off that bone, and then you pull the meat from the drumstick, so that and you throw away the drumstick itself and all those tendons, and you're left with all that meat. So that's one thing I do. Another thing is so for me, the primo piece of a pheasant is a skin on thigh because the skin on thigh is as big as the palm of your hand.
Mhm.
And depending on how big you are, there's that arm wrestling dude whose hands are he's the
Yeah.
exception. He's got like turkey thigh hands.
Yeah.
But the the skin on pheasant thigh is the best part of that animal because it's got fat in it. It's got only a single bone. It's dark but not super dark, and it's incredibly flavorful. By the way, here's a side note. If you guys out there are dating, here's number one question you need to ask on your first date. At some point in your first date, ask this woman, "So, you eat chicken, right?" And well, if she's not a vegetarian, chances are she eats chicken. "What part of the chicken do you like to eat?" There are multiple correct answers. But the incorrect answer is boneless, skinless chicken breast, in which case, pay the check and leave. Because this woman does not like food, which means she does not like anything that has anything to do with actually liking life.
And that's why Hank is single today.
All I'm picturing right now, and this won't make any sense to Hank, but Eric, you'll get it. All I'm picturing now is Buzzard just angrily throwing everything in his office as he's listening to this everywhere. Because that dude, that's all he eats is boneless, skinless chicken breast every day.
So terrible. I bet he eats protein powder too.
I don't know. I don't know, but we love giving him a hard time about all the chicken, all the skinless, boneless chicken he eats. So I'm
Terrible.
picturing him just raging right now.
Terrible.
I'm waiting for him to.
Not
I'm
even
waiting for him to
food.
post something in chat. That's funny.
But okay, so if you have skinless pheasant breasts, that you're not all is not lost. There's two things that I typically do with them. One is I'll pull the tender off and cook the tender separate. And I really love using skinless pheasant breast as a schnitzel or a cutlet. So you pound it thin and then bread it and fry it,
Mhm.
and that's really good. So another option is I will slow poach it in olive oil or butter. And so doing that gives it some flavor and also doesn't it will not dry out. So those are two really easy ways to deal with pheasant breasts.
Interesting. Have you done that, Eric? I've never even thought of that.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. I
You
bet
can
all of
reuse
this
that
is.
oil. You can reuse that oil or butter multiple times too. Just mark it.
Yeah.
Mark it like,
Now,
Oh.
Hank, let me ask you a question. I got a friend that lives in the UK. Last year, he called me and he says, "Oh, I just got 2 pheasants gave to me, and I'm going to start pheasant hunting this year, and I want to know how to prepare them, to cook them." So I sent him one of my recipes, and he called me on the phone and said, "Eric, so the way they did it, these pheasants are 5 days old,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still not gutted."
Right.
And I'm like, "What?" He said, "We got them hung on our porch. They hang them on the porch for 5 to 7 days with their guts in them
Yep.
before they even do anything with them in the UK."
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I'm like, "What? I've never done that. I would have thought they would have been spoiled
Well, it
with
does depend on the
leaving the
temperature.
guts in them."
It depends on the temperature. But I hang all my birds.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like 60, 70 degrees last
That's
year when
too
we got
warm.
'em.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
too
like,
warm.
and they ate them, and he loved them. He gutted them
Survived.
and plucked them and everything. And then I was like, there is no way I would have ate that bird.
So there's a thing in England called high game, and it's I've experienced it. I've never had the guts to do it, so to speak. But they will hang a bird, around those temperatures for like a week, and then they'll pluck it and they'll roast it, and it stinks like high heaven for like the first 10 minutes it's in the oven, and then it switches, and and then it smells like a roast bird, and it wasn't bad. It was tangy, but I didn't hate it, and I didn't love it, and I don't recommend it, but I do absolutely recommend hanging birds for a few days in proper temperatures.
Well, my problem is, you
Interesting.
know how bad a pheasant stinks when you got it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I can't imagine 4 or 5 days letting it hang with the
No
guts
worse.
in it.
It's absolutely no worse if the temperature is correct.
Oh.
Yeah, if the temperature is below 50 if 55 or below is your sweet spot. So somewhere between 34 and because you don't want it to freeze. So somewhere between 34 and 55 is really where you want it, and if in a perfect
Wow.
world, it would be 45. So, like, warm refrigerator kind of, and the innards do not smell at all compared to, like I mean, yes, they smell like innards.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna be like putrid.
It's not gonna be worse then.
Yeah.
I just
Now
figured the
once you get
bird.
above
I told him I
60,
wouldn't eat it, but he still ate it.
I remember
And
that.
I was telling him, "Yeah, eat it," and I'm
yeah,
like, "I wouldn't," but he did.
well, I'd cook the hell out of it, that's for sure, but I would not eat that as sushi.
No.
See, now when I killed pheasants growing up, and we've killed we in Pennsylvania. We stocked pheasants, plus we had some wild pheasants. Now it's a lot different because the way the farmers, the pheasants just don't make it in PA anymore from one year to the next usually. So they're all stock birds now. But out in Iowa and places I've been pheasant hunting, when I've gone out there for a week of pheasant hunting, we kill a lot of pheasants out there. As soon as we get them, we take them, gut them, pluck them. We pluck them, gut them, and take the bird in and put it in ice coolers.
So that works if the bird you can pluck a bird in one of two ways, when it's still warm, like it sounds like what you were doing,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's
or
exactly what
two
was doing on the
or 3
tailgate.
days later.
Yeah,
The exact worst time to pluck any upland bird, quail, grouse, pheasant, you name it, is usually when people try, which
right,
is to say the evening after the hunt or the morning after the hunt are the 2
right,
worst ways, because the bird's still in rigor and the
Mm,
feathers stick to that skin, and you will rip that skin every single time.
right.
interesting. See,
Now, what
see, these
about
are the things that I like to know because I'd probably go and hunt pheasants a lot more if I knew what the heck to
what
do with
about
them.
boiling, Hank?
Sorry?
What about boiling the water and dunking them? I've
Oh,
seen a
yeah.
lot of people do that too. So,
Yeah, so it's not technically boiling, it's like 155 degrees, so it's
right,
not just hot
right,
and steamy, but,
right.
yeah, that's a wet pluck, it works, it's smelly, and it tightens that skin, and if it's too hot, it will whiten the skin, like, as it partially cooks them. It's
Right,
not terrible, and it's easier in a way,
right.
but
It
it's very
is.
now, the people I know who are, like, really serious about it, I mean, I know some guys in, like, the Dakotas or in Kansas who kill lots of pheasants.
Mhm.
They get those chicken pluckers, and those chicken pluckers work really well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Before we move too far past there, we did have a question in our chat for you. Cheryl's asking, would the tang be a fermentation?
Probably.
Okay.
It's so as anything decomposes, and if you get it in the right conditions, you'll get something like that. It's enzymatic activity. So it's not like pure like yeast fermentation or lactic but it's a development of lactic acid. And so there's a lot that goes on with the aging and hanging of meat and both birds fit. You can actually age fish, believe it or not. But fish, birds, and red meat are all kind of aged slightly differently.
I got two more questions for you. I'll ask you both of them. What about turtle stew?
Hmm.
And the next one, what is your favorite big game meat?
All right.
And
So
how do you prepare it?
turtle stew is so the kind I make is Creole turtle stew. So it's like a Cajun Creole deal.
Oh,
Um, there are 2 main kinds in the United States. There's that kind, and then there's this basically a chowder is the other kind, and that's sort of Maryland and kind of a little bit of Pennsylvania too with snappers. That's fine. I'll eat it, but I don't love it. For me, if I'm gonna turtles are so rare for me that if I'm going to go through the trouble of butchering a snapping turtle and cooking it, I'm gonna make that Creole turtle soup, which I just like better. If I ate a bunch of turtles, then yeah, I would probably make both that Maryland, cream style as well. My little tip on butchering snapping turtles is get those big giant loppers. Like you lop off tree branches, and after you chop that guy's head off, and he stops walking around because it takes a little while. Take a knife and cut around his all 4 of his legs, and then you use those bolt cutters or those big loppers to cut the top shell off from the bottom shell. I've seen
Right.
people use axes, and it just gets ugly.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
So
ever seen any of this.
It's kind of like you used to live in Pennsylvania and I'm from New Jersey, and it's a thing there with snapping
Yes.
turtles.
Yeah.
Huh.
My
Um,
granddad loved doing turtle stew. He always told me there's 7 kinds of meat in a turtle.
he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. So
Yeah.
so fun. Here's a fun
I
little. I'll get to
couldn't
the big game
tell.
question in a second, but
Yeah.
in Baja California, there is a caguama is a sea turtle, and it's also the name for a big bottle of Pacifico beer. But a caguama used to be the soup that is the signature soup of Baja California, and it's really very similar to like a like a Brunswick stew almost,
Right.
but it uses historically sea turtle. Alas, sea turtles have been protected even in Mexico for 35 or 40 years. So, yeah, you could probably still get one if you ask the right guy, but you can't just like see it on menus anymore. But the reason why they like it so much is because it has all those different textures and colors and flavors of meat in it. And so now there's a guy in Ensenada, just south of Tijuana, who makes his soup out of an opa fish, and an opa fish very similar, where it's got like 5 or 6 different textures and colors of meat on it. It's almost a perfect mimic of this sea turtle that they can't use anymore.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So,
Turtles.
big game meat. Wow. So
I
I'm
know
gonna
what mine is. I just wanted to see if you would pick near the same thing.
well, so again, this is gonna come back to the pike and the fat question. So, for me, if I can choose anything in North America, I'm gonna choose either a nilgai or a bison because they're both bovids, and because they're bovids and not cervids, their fat's not waxy. So the fat on both of those animals is gonna be more like beef fat and useful and tasty and delicious. So if you give me anything I can a musk ox would fall into that category too, but that's even rarer. Um, but one of those would probably be top of the list because you don't have to trim the fat, and if you're gonna restrict me to just cervids, then I would probably go with elk.
See,
But
mine
and
is moose.
yeah, moose would be that's a fair choice. I would say for me, moose, elk, and a properly dealt with antelope
See,
would be
now
my
I've
top
had
Oh
3.
people
yeah.
tell me they love caribou more than
Oh,
anything.
caribou's good, yeah, but it's also a cervid, so it's got that same waxy fat.
Right, right.
Yeah,
They
caribou's
have
good.
antelope is delicious if it's done right, for sure.
Well, a lot of people tell me antelope. It depends on where they're at. You can get antelope that tastes real sagey,
Yes, yes.
real sagey, and almost not good tasting.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few of those, and I just embrace it. I'm like, "Alright, fuck it, it's a sagey."
Right,
It's sagey,
right.
we're just gonna go
Yeah,
there, like,
yeah.
and
I've just, I know I've had people that have killed them and ate them that tell me there's 2 different type of antelope. One that eats the crap out of sage that tastes like that is really strong sage, or one that's like in between the sage and the other stuff that makes it really good to eat. They
Mhm.
love it like that.
Yep. Well, it's similar to, like, sage grouse.
Right,
So,
right.
if I'm shooting sage grouse, typically, I only do it I haven't even done it for years, but I don't do it very often because there's not you can still hunt them, but there's not shitloads of them. So, sage grouse, I always try to not shoot the big giant boomers, like the big giant roosters,
Right.
because they're going to be unpleasantly sagey, whereas the smaller ones are much, much tastier.
Let
That's
me
just
hit
like
you one
anything.
more. What's your favorite fish
Mm,
to eat?
there's so many. God.
I don't know.
I think
It has to be a saltwater fish, right? It
oh,
has to
yeah,
be. Yeah.
100%. I'm my part of me wants to say grouper, part of me wants to say yellowtail, and part of me wants to say, king salmon. So I'm
Okay.
gonna go with those
So
3.
I really don't have, and I've had saltwater fish, but that's been several years ago. Mine's freshwater. Probably, if I had my biggest pick, it'd be either walleye or perch.
I like
Well,
perch.
they're fine, but to me, they're anodyne. They're a little bit sort of like, okay, here's a whitefish, and there's 1,000 of those in North America. The ones that I pick have extremely specific flavors to them.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think have you had yellowtail? I have not had yellowtail.
No.
Eric?
It's so good.
I
Have you ever been to a
don't-
sushi place?
I've never had sushi.
Okay. So if you go to a sushi place, it's hamachi.
Okay. Okay.
Every sushi place will have it.
Do you just don't like sushi, or I've never had it. It scares me.
I can't eat sushi. I'm sorry. I'm a wimp when it comes to that. You put that son of a gun still squirming on my plate, it's going back.
I usually wait for it to stop squirming.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's nice to know. God. I know people's in my chat going, come on, Eric, you got to be bigger than that. I just can't do it. And I had a best friend that owned a Japanese steakhouse and sushi restaurant, and he used to try to get me to eat it. He'd order it back there and tell the cooks, and he'd take me back there and say, now watch, this is how we prepare. I'm like, no, don't put that on my plate.
I love how we're so similar with some of our food choices. It does make me happy. It makes me feel like I'm not alone in this world.
There's a lot of people that feel the same way, but some of my best friends, they eat the heck out of sushi and
people love it.
Pickles, and I mean, it just look. There's and them little green round things. I'm not even going to name them because they don't deserve a name. That have the little red pin down inside of them, and the black ones. They should be thrown off of Earth 1,000,000 times.
Yeah,
so you're not a fan of pimento olives?
No.
I didn't say the name, so I can't get in trouble.
Yeah, right.
Voldemort.
Green, pretty much green anything, man. Pickles, olives.
See, now, green peppers I love. I love to slice them up and fry them really good. I love green peppers.
Okay, so you're not against green.
No, I'm not against green, but cucumbers, like Pam, I grow cucumbers just for her out here in the garden. All right. So she'll go out and get 3 or 4 of them, bring them in here, slice them up, put oil and vinegar on them and salt, and sit in bed and eat a whole bowl of them, a bowl of these cucumbers sliced in this oil. And I'm like, woman, are you all right?
Sounds good to me. It just needs a little bit of chili.
See, and this is the problem. I screwed up when I was dating. I should have said, do you like pickles? That's what I should have asked.
See, there you go. There's your deal breaker.
Yep.
But I love pickled eggs. Of course, that's not made from pickles. That's a vinegar and different stuff with that to make your pickled eggs. And I don't know. I just can't eat anything. And I've been trying to get caught by my chat asking me stupid questions that I already know. There's no relish or pickles in it. So don't even play that game,
No.
If it says relish, we're throwing it out the door.
Yep. Get out of here. Same way.
We'll call it chutney for you.
Call whatever you want. It's still getting thrown out the window. Well, and joking aside, food scares me. I don't know why.
Spoken like a true Minnesotan.
Right. Yes. And I don't know why, but in the last couple of years, I've become more open to trying things. It's probably because I'm meeting people like you and Jamie and other people that are experienced and kind of know what the hell they're doing. And so there's more trust there than if I just go to somebody's house and they're like, here, try this. You're like, no.
But they do sell cookbooks.
Yeah, right. But I'm a terrible cook. I'm not good at cooking, which is why I
See,
need people like Hank to give me
I gotta
guides.
cook all the wild game, all that stuff. She doesn't like to do that at all.
That's the only thing I can
She
do.
doesn't want to eat deer meat. The only deer meat she'll eat is if I smoke a hindquarter and have it shaved and chipped to where she can make like a sandwich out of it or put it in the eggs in the morning. That's the only way she'll eat it. So
Meat's the only thing I can make. Why do you think I love meat so much? It's the only thing I can even remotely make. I tried, Hank. This is I want so bad to be good at cooking. I do. I want to be good at it so bad. And I'm like, you know what? This year it was like my New Year's resolution. I'm going to make my own signature dish. I'm going to pick something and I'm going to learn that dish. I'm going to make it until I am the best at it. And
peanut butter and jelly.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I've mastered that one already. I had to pick something different.
Okay.
I do my peanut butter and jelly is completely different than everybody anyway.
You put pickles on it, don't you?
No, I'm very symmetrical. Peanut butter on both slices and jelly on both slices and then put them together. That's how it has to be. Otherwise, it's not symmetrical and it fucks with my head.
Do you put butter on it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I put peanut butter on it. Well, now I'm forgetting the stupid dish. Chicken Alfredo was the dish that I was going to make my signature dish. And I'm like, I'm going to make Alfredo sauce from scratch.
1978 called. It wants its dish back.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to make Alfredo sauce from scratch. I'm not going to go buy Alfredo sauce. I'm going to make it. And it did not go well. And I've never made it since. I'm like, nope, I should have known. I'm not good to the point where it's comical. It is comical. I swear to God, I turned for like 5 seconds and I turned back to my stove and I had cheese curds, like cottage cheese in my pan. I didn't have Alfredo sauce anymore. It was,
See, now I'm getting in trouble for the butter. And I'll tell you, I had a cousin that had to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he had to put butter on both sides of the bread before he put the peanut butter and jelly.
Really?
So, yeah, he was really weird. But anyway.
I'm not against it. I'd try that. Why not? I've also heard that if you take the PB&J, and now that the air fryers are a thing, if you take the PB&J and you throw it in the air fryer, it's delicious. I've not tried it, but Smokey loves it. Smokey says he swears by it. He says it's fantastic. I don't eat peanut butter and jelly anymore. One of the big game questions that I had, Hank, was mostly around whitetail, and I've heard conversations talking about neck meat, and people get a little sketchy out about the neck meat when you start talking about CWD. Is there truly anything to worry about when it comes to CWD and actually using the neck meat to eat and to cook or make into a stew? Because I think a lot of people use that neck meat as like a stew sort of a thing. Is that a concern for you? Do you just take different precautions, or do you not even worry about it?
If I'm in a place that has CWD, I'll just debone it. If you debone the meat, you're fine.
You're fine, right?
Yeah.
And plus, they claim you got to cook it a little bit better. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, that's what they put out here, is just make sure the meat is cooked a little bit better than what you normally do.
And let's just also be very clear that to date, chronic wasting disease has not jumped the species barrier to humans. That doesn't mean it can't.
Right.
And the concern is that nobody wants to be patient zero.
Right. Yeah.
But it hasn't happened yet. So,
right.
But yeah, what I do is I just debone it. Generally speaking, if it were to cross the species barrier, it would come from the spinal column or the brains first. So all of the sort of the central spine, and then I don't know, a lot of people who eat deer brains, but that's where you would get it first. The meat would be a lesser source of transmission, and then the leg bones would be a lesser source of transmission. None of this is impossible. I mean, it's like the science is evolving, but like it typically with these prion diseases, the people, when it does jump the species barrier, it's because of spinal or brain tissue.
Now,
Uh,
what's the one down by you going on? The bird flu?
Bird
Eric?
flu in our snow geese and our Canadian geese that are here. They've had a major outbreak right where I live with the bird flu with them.
And Eric and I were having that discussion. I'm like, I won't eat anything with bird flu. I wouldn't touch one of those
and
geese.
they're just telling you.
How'd you know? Like you wouldn't know.
I know
Yeah.
you wouldn't know.
But like they've done a lot of testing here. They're trapping them and testing them, and it's like really bad here right now with the bird flu with them.
You bring up a good point, Hank. How would you know? It's not like you can test that bird before you eat it. Hey, were you sick? Do you have bird flu?
See, but I don't like geese or duck unless it's smoked. That's I don't know why. I've just never really liked the greasy birds like that.
Yeah, I smoke them all.
And I've seen people put them on a smoker and they turn out like rubber because they overcook them.
Yep.
You know, and then they're like, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever." Well, then you just got to be careful on that. Yeah,
goose jerky.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, do you eat goose and duck, Hank?
I literally wrote the cookbook about how to cook.
I figured you did because you like pickles. I knew it was coming. People that eat pickles will eat duck and geese.
The book is called Duck, Duck, Goose.
Duck, Duck,
Goose.
It's
available wherever fine books are sold.
And it's one of them that we did a giveaway that Hank signed. It's going to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Both books that we gave away are going to Pennsylvania. How about that?
Oh, there you go.
Crazy. I've been dropping the links, but I wanted to kind of touch on the books since you just brought it up. Hunt, Gather, Cook was the first book, correct?
Correct.
Duck, Duck, Goose, Buck, Buck, Moose, Pheasant, Quail, Cottontail, and I'm trying to remember the last one off the top of my head.
It's the one that you would like to have.
Yes, Hook, Line, and Supper. Thank you. Thank you. That is the one I need. For me, just as a hunter, because I'm kind of on the Steve Vernella side. I'm more of a hunter that then cooks the meat that I get from hunting. And I have always kind of, one of the reasons I kind of mentioned it earlier, one of the reasons I don't go pheasant hunting and I don't go duck hunting is I don't eat it. And if I'm not going to eat it, I'm not going to kill it. But I think a lot of the reason I don't eat it is I've never had a good mechanism, a good medium to leverage to cook with it to make something that is good. So I'm very thankful that those are the specific books, because I am planning on using every single one of them. Are you able to talk about the new book at all? Can you talk about what's the new one?
So the new book is called Borderlands, and it will come out in June. And in fact, the very first kickoff event is going to be at Fulton Brewing on June 19th.
Ooh.
So we'll be right downtown for both of us.
Nice.
So Borderlands, it's recipes and stories from the Rio Grande to the Pacific, and it's a project that I've been working on since 2019. And I have been going back and forth across the border for 20 years. And at 2019, I decided that I was going to start compiling information and recipes and doing interviews and talking to just everybody I could on both sides of the border. I can speak pretty decent Spanish as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is as much wild as it is traditional. So you will find for every enchilada recipe, there will be what we did in Pheasant Quail Cottontail is because we realized in that book that so many meats were interchangeable. So, for example, if it's a pheasant recipe, there's really almost no reason it can't also be a rabbit recipe or a quail recipe or a turkey recipe. So we did the same thing with Borderlands, where if it's traditionally a beef recipe, but there's no reason you couldn't use deer, we have a series of icons to say, hey, so this recipe, it might say beef something, but look at the icons, and you can use outad, you can use whitetail, you can use moose, you could use, antelope or whatever, and it will work just as well. So it's a very hunter friendly book. It's not exclusively wild game, but there is 125 recipes in it, and
Okay.
about 75 to 80 of them are all from the border and all applicable to fish and game.
I like that idea.
It's
That's a cool idea.
it forms a huge wild food forms a huge part of the border experience. I mean, everything from cactus to whitetail deer hunting to mule deer hunting to doves especially, and the fish both in the Pacific and in the Gulf. Um, it just is part of the fabric of the border, and I wanted to highlight that.
Nice. That's exciting. June, everybody. Mark that on your calendars. Get it
Yeah,
in June.
June in Minneapolis, but you should be able to pre-order the book very soon, and I'll let you know when that happens.
Ooh, even better. Yeah, let us know, and we'll get that out to our community. So here's what my plan is. We're gonna take a short break, a very short break. While we take the break, I'm gonna turn Eric's camera off, and then we're gonna do some giveaways, Hank. We're gonna do some giveaways. I'm gonna get those giveaways ready, and then when Eric's back, then we'll be ready to do some of the giveaways. Yeah, Gamer's all sorts of excited. He's been here for the giveaway. I'm here for the giveaways.
All right.
Gamers
Go grab
always
a,
here for the game.
I may actually just go grab a beer. I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. All right, Eric, go ahead and take your break. I'm going to switch over to the other one, and then we'll get her cooking.
Oh.
All right. So while we wait for those guys, we did switch to the giveaways. All right. Yeah. Turn this back on when he comes back. Let's see if I can make this happen. And now I have to figure out how to. Bear with me, everybody. I'm going to try to get Hank with us. Can I copy this? On-air production meeting. Paste it. That did not work at all. Well, we might have to go without Hank. We'll get this. So, and I think I have to set this. We're going to set it at 60 seconds. So what this giveaway is, let's talk about what the giveaway is first. The giveaway, so Hank, and I'll figure out how to bring Hank into this thing. But Hank does a Substack. And if you don't know what Substack is, you're in the same club as I have been in. It's actually pretty cool. And every Tuesday, Hank puts out, whether it's an article or whatever it might be. I don't know what the technical term is. It's fantastic writing because Hank is a fantastic writer. And I'm a subscriber to Hank's Substack, and I am going to give away 1 free month of subscription to 5 people. So we're going to give 5 subscriptions away for one month to Hank's Substack. Yeah, excellent Instagram. Hank is like a freaking pro at social media. Let's try this. So while we do this, I'm going to try to figure out if I can make this work. This. Hopefully that's Hank. I'm just going to slide him down. I'm going to slide him down there. But I think we can. I think you can still hear us, and we can hear you, and everybody else can still hear you. So that's the main goal.
That'll work.
All right. So I'm gonna do. Let's see. We've only done this type of giveaway once, and it's been a while, so I have to refresh myself on how to do this. As everybody's ready, I'm gonna hit !! Start. It's gonna give you 60 seconds to type in ! Join. There it is. So everybody get in. Everybody that wants to get in, type in join. Might have to set it for longer than 60 seconds. Get in the giveaway. And don't be afraid to win. Even if you've won before, it's okay. Oh, I just screwed it up. Got to start over. We're gonna give it 2 we're gonna give it 2 minutes. Dang it. Start. Sorry. Yeah, join again. Do join again. We do so many giveaways, I forget how to do them. Oh, I gotta turn Eric back on. Oh god, there he is. Ah! There we go. There we go. Hide and seek world champ, first time chatter. Welcome in. Exclamation point join. Thank you. So when are you going to get out while we're waiting for the timer to go down? We'll do 60 seconds the next time, but I wanted to give everybody a chance this first time to get in. When are you going to get out for mushrooms for the first time, Hank, do you think?
It's hard to say, but because it's all weather dependent.
Yeah.
But I think typically it's the end of April. I mean, this generally speaking for morels, which are the oyster mushrooms will be first, but once the temperatures are consistently 60 degrees, 65, 70, and then the nights are in the 40s, that's when the morels really start to pop. And of course, we need rain as well. We're getting plenty of moisture, but
yeah,
we need it just to warm up consistently.
It's coming. It's coming. I have faith. I have faith.
Oh, yeah, I mean it'll be fine. And then I'm actually, I've got to be down in Texas in a couple weeks, and we're going to be pig hunting. And then in May, I'm going to be down on the Gulf, and we're going to be fishing. So I've got a couple of adventures planned.
Nice. Going for drum, red drum, black drum?
No, typically my friend Joe, we're going to try and do a deep drop trip, catch some really serious grouper.
Okay.
Like both of us are pretty good grouper fishermen, and 350 feet down doesn't scare me. So
there all the balls growing. They're going. Oh, who won? Walleye. Was that walleye? Yep. Walleye wins.
Walleye's the winner.
We got 4 more to go. We got 5 giveaways. That was the first one.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Are you giving away Tesla trucks or what?
No.
Oh, I thought maybe you was giving away
a fire starter.
How about a fishing pole? Are you giving away a fishing pole? I didn't hear what we was giving away.
Oh, we're giving away 1 free month to Hank's Substack, which is phenomenal reading. Every Tuesday, Hank puts out a what do they call it? Are they called articles, Hank? I don't know. I'm not super
article,
familiar.
Essay, you name it.
All right, you got 1 minute to get in. Join, everybody. Get in. First winner. That's a good winner. That was a good winner. There's Buzzard. Oh, and now we're getting some peeps in.
Buzzard was playing with the puppy.
I'm sure. All right, this is fun. I love this little game. Somehow we're gonna need to figure out how to get this on your stream, and then because everybody loves the marbles that you play, which is completely RNG. There's no skill whatsoever to it, which is
no, there's skill to it. Listen, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's skill to it.
Right.
That's why Buzzard never wins.
All right, 15 seconds, everybody. Get in, exclamation point, join, get in on the giveaway. This is the second of 5.
I'd like to apologize for that last statement.
And coming from somebody like me who I'm not a reader. I actually hate reading. But I like reading Hank stuff. Oh, that was a close one.
That was a close one.
Buzzard in.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
There is some cheating going on here.
Minnesota's gonna take over this thing? What the heck?
Here, we'll
Resistance is futile.
Wow.
All right, another minute. That's number 2. Oh wait, first I have to do new. Sorry.
Yeah.
New and then start. Sorry, everybody. First time, long time listener, first time user of this program.
So what was that giveaway? What did Buzzard win?
Same thing. I have 5 subscriptions to give away to Hank Substack.
All right. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Minnesota invented cheating. Maybe.
That's right. Yeah, everything was invented in Minnesota.
Yes, that's right.
I'm pretty sure that was Rhode Island, but okay.
Join.
There was something I learned today on my channel. Buzzard said something was newly invented, or maybe it was soggy. Someone said something was invented in Minnesota today.
Oh,
I forget what it was.
Spam.
I know cheeseburgers were invented in Minnesota. I know that cheese was invented in Minnesota, not Wisconsin. Forget it. Don't even argue with me because Buzzard told me so.
Right, here we go.
Pickles were invented in Minnesota.
Plinko banana. Oh, that was quick.
Wow. There's two. Yeah. Banana
First
one now.
Yep. First one in there was banana sack.
Now we're going to Illinois. It's getting worse.
It's all upper Midwest so far.
Yeah. This is like we need an East Coast and a West Coaster.
All right, here we go. 1 minute. Get in. We got 2 more to go. And then we'll get into the recipe section, which of course I had to pick a recipe from Hank. And there was a reason I brought up catfish earlier.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly catfish sandwiches.
That's right.
I would assume that would be okay.
With pickles.
Oh.
Now they put pickles. I have a guy in my channel that likes pickles with peanut butter. There is no way.
A lot of people love pickles with peanut butter.
No.
I like bananas with peanut butter.
Or bananas and peanut butter too, yeah.
See, now I know people that dip their banana in chocolate. But
also good.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that requires you like melted chocolate, and that's too much work.
Yeah. Well.
All right, 5 seconds. If you're not in, get in.
So I'm gonna win this one right here. This is mine.
Did you get in? You should have gotten in.
No, I didn't get in. This is our channel. Why would I get in my channel? That would be cheating.
Was that JB?
Here we go.
I almost won again.
Wow.
Gamer stuck. Gamer had a shot at it.
But they just keep going until someone falls on the thing at the bottom?
Yeah.
Swamp.
There you go.
Swamp got it.
Wow. Right. Swamp got it. Now we're moving all the way down to Mississippi.
You know what though? They're going to perfect people for this, so I love it.
Are you saying I'm not perfect?
Well, you haven't played. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, 1 minute. Get in. Last one. You got walleye, buzzard, banana sack, and swamp bottom baits.
All right.
Those are our winners so far.
Sounds like my ride or die crew.
Yeah, they're all good peeps. All right, 40 seconds. Get in the last one. I'm excited for people to get this.
Do they have to read anything at all?
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's all
you don't have to do anything.
Out of that one, then they didn't invent reading in Minnesota.
Walleye and buzzard are screwed, is what you're saying? They're really good reads. And again, that's coming from me, who I hate reading. I will do everything in my power to not have to read. Hide and Seek World Champ got in. That's a Sasquatch for sure. Sasquatch needs some good.
We need to do Sasquatch next weekend. I think we need to do a Sasquatch hunt next weekend.
Let's do it next week. All right, here we go.
All right.
Last one.
Oh, wow, that was
a quick one. Hide and Seek World Champ.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna do a different one.
I'm screwed there.
We're gonna do a different one because Sasquatches can't read.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, no, they can't read. So, congratulations, Hide and Seek World Champion. But you're a Sasquatch and you can't read. So
what you're saying, it was you?
No, it's not me. My hands are right here. All right, exclamation point join.
Wow.
I'm gonna get yelled at. I like salmon, but I can only eat raw. See, he doesn't need to know this stuff. Sasquatch is just, but yeah, if you want to plan going down to the land next weekend, and we'll do a Sasquatch hunt.
Yeah, we can definitely do. They are moving right now too. This is a breeding season.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
you don't find
chastity belt.
You better this time. Last time it got a little dicey. Hank,
Hank, you want to come up and Sasquatch hunt with me?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Eric ran into a hide and seek real chance. Says I'm getting in again. I hope he wins again.
Ooh,
Bam, Rim.
Wow, Rim Reaper.
Again, perfect winner. Rim is somebody that's looking to get into hunting and things like that. So that is perfect. All right, so you guys, we've got walleye, buzzard, banana sack, swamp bottom baits, and then Rim Reaper. You guys have won 1 free month of subscription to Hank's Substack, and I'm going to drop the links again. You guys, seriously check out Hank and all of his socials, his Instagram. Cheryl, who is one of our VIPs and has been around our channels, both my channel and this channel and Eric's channel for a while now. She has friends, like she knew who Hank was before. When I'm like, yeah, I met this guy named Hank. Hank who? I'm like, Hank Shaw. I ordered some of his books. She's like, oh my God. and Cheryl happened to be one of them that won the giveaway from the book that got signed by Hank. So awesome. I just have to get him out there.
Where's Cheryl live?
Cheryl lives in PA.
Ah, okay.
She is where in PA, I don't know. I lose track of PA. To me, everything in Pennsylvania is East Coast. So, but if you say that, then the people on the west side of PA seem to get upset.
It's like, so Philly's East Coast, but Pittsburgh's not.
Yeah, which I've never paid attention. So PA is PA. And Eric, you were from Central PA, correct?
Well,
Central?
no,
Central?
I was raised in northwest of Pittsburgh.
Okay, so you're basically
very close to the Ohio line.
You're
Ohio, West Virginia were within 5 minutes of me either direction.
Okay.
So I was right at the top of the northern panhandle, West Virginia in PA.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. And then I moved to North Central PA. That's where I was the police chief and game warden.
Cool. All right. Well, we have way overstayed our welcome, but I kind of figured that we were going to have plenty to talk about with Hank and it was going to be a fun conversation. But Hank, for reals, thank you for joining us. Thank you for agreeing to coming on the show. It was a pleasure for me to have a chance to share with you or share you to the people that we engage with on a weekly basis and on a daily basis in a lot of cases. I think we have a lot of good people that are going to take some things from you and hopefully learn from you. It's the right wheelhouse, right? And if I'm a hunter and a fisherman and I didn't know that your stuff was out there, I know there's a lot of people that are in our communities that didn't either. So it's fun for me to be able to bring that to everybody. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming on with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, thank you, Hank. I appreciate it.
All right, so now we're gonna kick Hank to the curb, and Hank, don't go anywhere. We're just gonna go to the recipe section, which I stole one of your recipes. But we're gonna give it credit. It's Hank's recipe, everybody, and we'll post that to make sure everybody knows it's Hank's recipe. Last time I used Hank's recipe, I asked for permission. This time, since he was gonna be on, I didn't. So I'm sorry, stealing it. Right to the recipes. The recipe, and I'm gonna butcher the name of this, and I've even practiced. Oh, this is why I can't be a fancy chef. Blackened catfish with makshu. Is that right? Did I get right? Makshu? All right.
Makushu.
Makucho. Makshu, yeah. Had no idea what it was. I had to look it up. Well, thankfully, I think on Hank's website, it gave you the correct pronunciation. But this is one of the things I wanted to point out. We talked about the website, and I would have loved to get into all of Hank's stuff even more than what we did. 1,500 recipes, over 1,500 recipes on Hank's website. Go and check out the website and find the ones that you like. But this is a blackened catfish, and it doesn't have to be catfish. It can be any fish, really, right? So I want to try catfish really bad. I've never had catfish. I want to try catfish. And if I were to try catfish, it would be blackened, just like this recipe. And I want to try this recipe with a handful of different kinds of fish. But we'll post this along with Hank's information within our Discord in the recipe section. And obviously, you guys will have all of the links in the YouTube video down in the description, and our website, once again, will have all of Hank's links on it. He'll take up half of our section, which is okay. Otherwise, don't forget, we've got exclamation point BBQ barbecue Texas select seasonings for your barbecue needs. We're talking about barbecue a lot tonight. Get 15% off Cast and Camo as your discount code. Exclamation point Sea Arc. Check out Sea Arc boats. It is that time of year to go catfishing, to get your catfish so you can make blackened catfish. Exclamation point Deer 30. Get going on your deer minerals and deer food plots. Eric, we got to get your food plot going, right? We got to get your Deer 30 going. You got to get in touch with those guys and get that cooking. Exclamation point Vexen. Go to that. Check out all the fishing rods, reels, tackle boxes, Cast and Camo to get 15% off. Forgot Cast and Camo 24 for Deer 30 to get 24% off. And last but not least, Behave, exclamation point Bees, Cast and Camo to get 10% off your order there. Otherwise, sounds like we're doing Sasquatch hunting next weekend. That's going to be fun again. Well, we might have to find a different co-host, unless you want to try to bring Tryon Reynolds back.
We could send a message. I don't know if he would be. Isn't he making a movie?
I don't know. I don't know. Don't know.
I think he's chasing his wife around the attorney firms right now. But yeah.
All right, maybe. Well, we'll see who we can drum up for a co-host next week. But we'll be live in the field with the field correspondent of Eric Fox.
I don't know if Ryan Reynolds. We could call him. Do you have his phone number?
No. No.
Well,
I don't.
All right. So we can send him a message through the World Wide Web.
Okay. We'll have our people get in touch with his people, and we'll see if we can track Tryon Reynolds down.
Yeah.
he said, "Suck it." Okay, I guess that's our answer. We'll find a different co-host. All right. Well, until next week when we go back on the hunt for Sasquatch, I am Todd,
And I'm Eric,
and we'll see you guys next week.